What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is Wednesday night. Now, typically on Wednesday nights, I bring you some type of film study. Most of the time, those are back over on Patreon, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. But tonight, because our trusty producer, old Ditko, is not with us, not like he's dead, but like not with us in the sense that he's not feeling very well right now. With all the things going on, I just told him, hey, stay at home. We'll do something a little different. We will do a live Q&A. Now, we typically end all of our live streams on MBRs, right? Our Monday night live streams with Q&A, question and answer. I haven't done one like this since last season where the entire show is Q&A, literally the whole entire show. And I always remember used to say and open these with the statement that these shows always make me nervous because I don't know how many questions I'm actually going to get. And this is a listener-led show. This is a viewer-led show. So I don't really have that fear anymore, to be honest with you. You guys have done such a great job of growing this platform and building this family up to where it is now. So I don't really worry whether or not you're going to show up because you always show up. You guys are very, very diligent about your support for this program and this YouTube channel and the podcast network and the website over there on Dogs Daily. And, of course, the Patreon as well. That family's growing by the dozens, it seems, daily. So I'm very, very thankful for your appreciation and your support for all that it is that we do. Hit that thumbs up button on these YouTube pages or on this YouTube, page today, this YouTube video. And of course, hit subscribe. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, feel free to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Brooks Austin SI. Most of you probably already are. And I think we've done a decent enough job of filibustering while we let those pile up. But I will tell you this, man, if you're not already a subscriber to Patreon, okay, and you're not already in that Discord, a family that, again, continues to grow, you're missing out. You really are missing out. We are a 4 or 5 nug day, like on that type of track every single day. Nugs are our bits of intel. If you don't know, if you're not caught up, if you're part of the uninitiated that isn't quite in the family yet and needs to be, those are pieces of intel, hot nugs, right? We drop those daily, and I mean daily. So there's a lot of information over there. There's a lot of, good sense of community as well. So if you want to join that, feel free to hit us up over there on patreon.com/Brooks Austin. All right. It seems like we've already got a boatload of questions to hit. SSL, your job is never more important than it is tonight. So let's fire it up. Let's make sure we don't miss too many of these. Clay Williams, first question of the night, asks, hey, Brooks, thoughts on the SEC short vids? Dude, I think those guys are hysterical, okay? They're not only hysterical, they're extremely, extremely creative. I don't know where they're from, where they live, or anything like that, but I was wondering if they were out at Lake Lanier during their latest one or if they actually went to a beach and filmed that Castaway-type series or Castaway-type episode with Big 12 and Oklahoma and Texas treating it like it was Wilson and he threw him off the ship. So I love those SEC short videos. I've actually tried, when I first got into podcasting and first got into the Georgia space, I tried to get them onto the show. They big leagued me big time. I would wonder if I have a big enough platform nowadays to get them on, but I probably don't. Guys, if it sounds like I am just running through these questions, it's because I'm, expecting a lot of these to happen throughout tonight. So I will try to get to as many as possible. What's your take? SSL asks, what's your take on the PFF article from earlier? The one with the hot take. I think we've already got a couple of these questions about this. Look, PFF got into this space, right? Analyzing football. I think they've now shifted their business model to more hot takery, more cash and grab type of articles, cash and grab type of information, things like that. I think it's exactly what you pointed out. It is a hot take. It's going to bother me. It is a hot take, right? And it got you guys to click on it. It got you guys upset, and that's what there is to do. That's what they're trying to do on that. Paul Taylor asked your thoughts on the Sony Michel trade. Look, I am mystified by the way it is that the LA Rams are going about running their business, and running their program and their organization. I didn't know they had any draft picks left. It seems like their whole model is, why even have NFL draft picks when we can just trade for better players using those draft picks or trade for proven commodities? So I think it's a great fit for Sony. He's known for his great athleticism, but he wasn't used out of the backfield very often up there in New England. He wasn't used very often. I think I saw a stat today Well, he's been banged up here and there in professional football, but he wasn't getting a lot of target share and a lot of rep share out there in New England. That will change when he gets to LA, I would imagine. And they certainly needed the help as well at the running back position. So I think it's a solid matchup for both of them and a solid fit for both of them. Zeus or Milton, who you got in a clutch? I think he meant clutch moment, ask old Rack Dog. In a clutch moment, I typically lean towards the older, more experienced football player. But to be honest with you, Zamir White hasn't had a lot of those, important moments, right? Like big time moments. Like when Georgia was playing an SEC championship game, DeAndre Swift was still the guy. And Brian Harrion was still on the football team. So 2020 was his first opportunity to really have that limelight and be in those quote unquote clutch moments. And he didn't really have too many of them, right? So I don't know. It's kind of a toss up there. I've always been a firm believer that Kendall Milton, though, is the most talented and most well-rounded back in that backfield. So I appreciate what it is that he brings to the table. Jamie Goodman, I already know what this is about. I ain't even got to read it. Shout out to you, Jamie. Appreciate you for being here. I think my content is the only content Jamie actually watches, so I appreciate him being here as always. Any chance we get a surprise player back that is healthy? No, the guys that are hurt right now, in terms of like big hurt, not battling, injuries, not like I keep getting questions about Fitzpatrick, and we've updated that one on Patreon. I think if they had to play today, he would play. So the other guys, though, like Darnell Washington and Tyke Smith, I don't expect them to play. I don't know what you've been hearing elsewhere. I just know that I've been told that it's not looking great for either of those. Who is the best high school football you personally played against? Asked on Monday, but did not get answered. To me, it's Isaac Rochelle. He just got signed with the Indianapolis Colts, was drafted out of Notre Dame, and played a couple years out there with the Los Angeles Chargers. And, yeah, now he's with the Colts. That dude was a freak in high school, and I think he's the only active NFL player that I played against in high school. There were several other ones on that Eagles Landing Christian Academy team, which Elko, they're dominant now in single A. They were really, really dominant when I was playing. So, yeah, that was probably the best player that's gone on to have the most career success that I've ever played against. But I forget his name. I want to say his name's Derek Brown. He played for Savannah Christian. I had nightmares about that guy. This is going to sound really weird. I can still smell him because he stunk, but he was a good football player. And yeah, I still have nightmares about what he did to me in a state championship game. It was not good. What must UGA do perfect to beat Clemson? Clayton Adams asks. Just play a well-rounded game. Don't turn the football over and force Clemson into turning the ball over. I think those are the most important things there. Matt Klug asks, feel like you addressed this recently, but I think I missed it. Will Charlotte be a Georgia takeover, Clemson takeover, or neutral? There are very few programs and very few fan bases, I believe, that travel as well as Georgia does. I think you guys have proven that throughout your tenure as, especially since Kirby's been there, as fans of your football team. So if there is one team that's going to take over this crowd and take over and buy as many tickets as possible, I think it's definitely going to be Georgia's fan base. But I don't know how they went about selling those tickets, to be honest with you. But resale, second market value tickets, stuff like that, Georgia constantly buys those things out. So, yeah, if there were to be one team that has a majority of the fans in attendance, it, in my opinion, will most likely be Georgia. Here we go. Britt Tucker asks, question. That's what we're here to do. How does JT mental side of the game compare to Fromm? What does he do better? What does he do worse? Mentally, like Jake diagnosed really, really well. But I don't think I haven't studied one like this. I haven't paid attention and listened to one as closely as I do every time he gets in front of a microphone. JT's as cerebral as they come. Like it's beyond crazy. Like I had one source tell me that, he's known JT for a long time out there in the California area. He told me if you gave JT Daniels 24 hours of a day, like an off day, and told him go do whatever it is that makes you happy, said he'd spend about 12 hours watching game tape, and then he'd spend about 4 hours throwing a football, and then he might go to the gym. Like he's wired very, very differently. And he gets this rap about being a Cali kid, right? And having Cali swag, and he does, don't get me wrong, but he leads with a much more like a calmer tone, right? He's not going to be out here screaming and hollering at his teammates. He's not going to, do all that kind of stuff. So whereas the other guy, I think, led a lot from up front, whereas JT's more than comfortable leading from behind and leading by example. So if I had to take one of the two mentally and how they approach the game, I'll be honest with you, I'm probably taking JT Daniels, even though Jake Fromm's got an opportunity to play a decade in the league as a backup just because of all the backup type things that he does. So that's a hard question, but I would go with JT right there. No, Dicko did not die, Robert. I love that you're in here joking about it, though. He's just sick, man. He's not feeling real well right now. Latest on Walter Nolen. We got something coming on that front. He announced today that if he gets to 11,000 followers, which on his Instagram page, which he did, that he was going to pop a commitment. I don't think it's going to be today. Obviously, it's 9/11, 9/12 right now. It's not going to be today. It probably will be soon. As far as where's he leaning, where's he going, I'll have more on that over on patreon.com/Brooks Austin very, very soon. What are you looking forward to most in the upcoming season? Asked Jeremiah Calloway. To me, it's probably watching guys like Trayvon Walker, guys like Kendall. I want to see him a lot this year. I love all this stuff that I learned from watching Georgia on film. So if there's one thing, I would have to say that. You guys know by now, I mean, I watch and cover Georgia because it is my job, but I go about doing the film study stuff that I do because I thoroughly enjoy learning more and more about the game of football. And every time I turn Georgia tape on, I do. Every single time I turn something on from Georgia that they're involved with, whether it be, game footage or old school footage or anything like that under Kirby Smart, I learn something every single time, especially defensively. They do stuff that blows my mind. It makes me have to call people and say, what am I looking at? Because I can't quite figure it out. And then they look at it and they go, honestly, I haven't seen that either. And I've been coaching for 20 years. So there's a lot about what I find on tape that fascinates me because I'm constantly, hungry for more and more knowledge. Adam Anderson not making the preseason all SEC team. What the heck, man? That's media voted. And, a lot of Georgia media members know exactly who he is. The NFL damn sure knows exactly who Adam Anderson is. Local beat writers at other schools probably don't. They probably look at last year's box scores or last year's stats and say, oh, well, so-and-so had a great year last year. He was all SEC and he's returning. He's got to be put on there, right? Whereas at the end of the year, those kind of things don't matter anymore. It's about what they heard about and what they saw from that year. So going into a season like this, I'll be honest with you, I can't tell you who Kentucky's best football player is. I can't. Okay. I spend way too much time doing this with Georgia where I can't tell you who's Vandy's best player or who Mississippi State's best player is, okay? It would take me a week of preparation, as I almost knock an old coffee cup over, a week of preparation leading up to that opponent to tell you everything you need to know about those athletes, right? And everything you need to know about that football team. So I could see how something like that gets absolutely missed. How much do you think Georgia tried McClendon at left tackle the last 9 months, if any? The if any is important there, Joe. I don't think they ever did. I don't think they tried. Not that I heard of. They just have way too many options over there for that left side. And they know it's nice to know going into a situation like you have at tackle right now that, we got a dude. We have a constant at least one of the positions. Let's leave him there. Let's not try to get too fancy, right? There's no need to do with him what they did with Andrew Thomas a couple years ago, flipping him from right to left tackle. I think they like him at right tackle. That was evident to me by leaving him there during the Cincinnati game and having Xavier Truss labor through his first start at left tackle. I mean, I have my own thoughts and own opinions about it, but they know more about it because they're inside the building. They're watching practice every single day. I am not. So I think he has a left tackle mold, to be honest with you. I watch him on tape. He's an extreme athlete. He's got a really effortless kick slide. He's damn near perfect in pass protection, but he every once in a while struggles at the point of the attack in the run game, right? He struggles every once in a while to uproot five techniques and uproot defensive ends and control the point of the attack. All those things scream left tackle. They don't scream right tackle, right? So I don't understand. And I'm not saying they should or they shouldn't because, again, they get the final call because they know more. They're privy to more information. The film tells me he looks like a left tackle and very well could play left tackle. I've already addressed this one from Alex Mild. Do we know if Washington's going to play? I don't think so. We've already addressed that from day one when it all happened, and we broke the news over on patreon.com/Brooks Austin. Whose idea was it to leave your head out of screen during film study? I love it. Probably the commenters. Honestly, you guys control a lot of it is that we do over on, all the stuff that we do. I mean, even tonight, Q&A was partially you guys' idea when it comes. I like to be a listener-led and a listener-driven content strategy and content model. If you guys tell me something works, I'm going to do it. If you tell me you don't like something, I'm probably going to change it, right? That's the way I've always attacked this business, if you will. So I'm good there. Rudes asked, what is Venable's defensive style? And I don't want to dodge your question here, Rudes, especially because you're handsome and I love you. But I'm going to address this next week. Okay. As we lead up into this, you're going to get an offensive, defensive, what Georgia should do right now. Okay. I'm going to give you the wide view of their offense, their wide view of their defense. And then I'm going to tell you exactly each night what I think and how Georgia should attack it. Okay. So let's not get too far into that, but I will tell you he's varied. He's a varied defense. Okay. They play a lot of stuff. Any chance that JT performs far below expectations, i.e. he's just not that good? I don't see that happening, partially because I do think he's that good. Secondly, because I just don't see with the way that the weapons still, even despite all the injuries and the stuff they got going on right now, I still believe he's got way too many weapons and such a good offensive coordinator. It's going to be damn near impossible for him to be bad. Okay. I mean, he looked good during times as a true freshman at USC with very little around him. There were some things to clean up, and for the most part, he has cleaned them up. Based on what Clemson likes to do defensively, which personnel group should Georgia use and why? We've talked about this a lot, especially during the defensive back breakdown that we had over on YouTube. We spoke specifically about how when teams get in 12 personnel, Clemson has a problem. And it kind of hurts now that Darnell's out, or likely to be out in this football game, because it kind of not eliminates, but it lessens your chances to effectively run 12 personnel. When you could have been doing it with Darnell Washington and Brock Bowers, now you're going to have to be doing it with Fitzpatrick and Brock Bowers. Like, you guys know that's a little bit different, right? It's a little bit different of a weaponry, but they struggle in 12 personnel because it puts, when the offense is in 12 personnel, that is one back, two tight ends, it puts them in a situation where they like to play base out of that, 4 down linemen, 3 outside linebackers, which, as much as I love what Clemson does defensively, I scratch my head when I see that, because they like to run 6'2", 240, 235 pound outside backers who typically aren't used to playing in space, and make them run out there and cover tight ends in space, or at least play zones in spaces. I don't like that. It's always bothered me, especially with the way modern offenses are run. It's why you see so many teams play base nickel, right? Georgia is a base nickel football team. If you get in 12 personnel against them, they will go into a 3-4, a traditional 3-4. But if you're playing 12 personnel and you like to flex out a tight end and put them in the slot, they want to stay in nickel, and they'll live to fight another day if you want to box them in and play traditional 2 tight as opposed to a traditional tight and a flex tight. Okay. I know that's a lot of information, especially without the board. But again, if you go back and watch the DB breakdown, that will all make much more sense. All right. Any chance Broderick sees action in 12 package as a tight end along with Bowers? Roger Smith, I like the creativity. I don't think it's possible. Did you know that your old photo editor, Crispy, is currently in the yard because is that for real? Is that for real? I hope he's not. I'm going to have to call him after this. I hope he's okay. Good Lord. Shout out to Crisp. Have I missed anything important while driving for 5 hours? Where are you driving, Justin? Do you want to tell the folks? No, we won't tell the folks. The people who need to know already know. Not really, except for PFF having a garbage take about the football game. What type of play calling should we expect from Tony Ellitt's offensive style? Rude's asking the heavy football questions tonight. I like it, buddy. But I think you're going to see something that makes offense look really, really, really easy for Clemson. Okay, they do some stuff schematically that I'm real fond of. You're going to see a lot of screens. You're going to see a lot of RPO action. You're going to see some quarterback run. You're going to see a lot of counter from them on the offensive line side. So Yeah, you're going to see a whole bunch of different stuff that we're going to show you this coming up week on our film breakdowns. Will Clemson pick on Kendrick early and often? I think they run at him. They certainly do. They are going to run at him for sure. But every team's going to run at him to start. They're going to have to he's going to have to prove he can come downhill and hit. Okay. That's something that teams were doing to him when he was at Clemson. So are they going to attack him in the sense that are they going to throw at him down after down? No, that's a bad idea. And they know that as well as Georgia does. That's a bad idea. You shouldn't go after that guy in the passing game unless you're trying to, just put guys like Arian Smith on him and run deep. That's about the only thing in the passing game that he really struggles with. Outside of that, he's pretty much locked down. He is as advertised. What he came to Georgia to be, he's 100% being right now on field. We've already kind of talked about this in terms of Chandler asked what's their best offensive personnel. I like what they do out of 12 personnel, and I dislike what Clemson does against 12 personnel, so I would go with that. Here we go. What would you say is Georgia's weakness, if any, going into the Clemson game? Offensive line continuity is something that we've talked about on this channel. It concerns me not having a set five that Now, are they talented? Yeah, but they're kind of new. They're a brand new relationship, and they're trying to go on vacation together. And for you youngins watching this, you better date a girl for a little while at home before y'all try to go on vacation together, because you can't escape her for however long it is. So, yeah, figure that one out. That was the metaphor. That was the metaphor there. You the man, Brooks. One day you'll be a true dog. Maybe, probably not, most likely not. But I appreciate the compliment. Let's see here. Which player replacing an injured player versus Clemson will have the best performance? So who we got? We got technically Brock Bowers. You've got Latavius Brini. Here's the deal. I think Brini's going to play a lot better than most people are expecting him to. I really do. I think this matchup favors him a little bit better in terms of Justin Ross. I think this matchup favors him more than it even did Tyke Smith. And people are going to say, wow, that's crazy. It's really not. I promise you. It's a size matchup for me. And Latavius Brini is about as big as they come at that star position. Zane Taylor, my man, it was great to meet you this weekend. I believe that is you. Who will be Georgia's biggest asset and weakness against Clemson? So with the way in which their linebackers work, right, I think they are very, very vulnerable in the passing attack, right? So I like James Cook's matchup out of the backfield. Okay, a lot of people talking about him slipping out into the slot. Maybe he does. I haven't heard anything about it. I know that what Georgia does offensively now under Todd Monken is get that guy involved out of the backfield, okay? So they'll go 3-by-1, right? Leave the back on the one side and run them on a little angle route where all the space is created because there's one wide receiver over there, right? You got everybody bunched up over here. Ball on the right hash, okay? Ball on this hash. Everybody bunched up over here. One wide receiver all over here, which leaves all the intermediate space in between for that running back to get loose and work on a linebacker matched up. That's what I think you're going to see a lot of in that specific matchup. There's no need to walk him out into the slot because then a safety can just run down on him, right? I would rather watch James Cook work out of the backfield because that almost ensures that James Skalski is going to have to match up with him. That almost ensures number 10, who I constantly forget his name, the kid from Calhoun, will be matched up with him out of the backfield. Those are not favorable matchups that lend themselves towards the Clemson Tigers. They favor Georgia and they favor James Cook. So that's what I would do, and that's a matchup that I think could be a major asset as you are asking there, my boy Zane. Aiden Cruz asked, hey, Brooks, what's your score prediction for Georgia-Clemson? I was asked this in the Discord the other day. I'm going to go 38-35, but I'm not going to tell you the winner until next week. Got to tease it a little bit. So, yeah, that's my score prediction. I think it's a coin toss football game, though, to be honest with you. So my score predictions don't really matter. Clemson's D-line is pretty stout. Will they play a major role in this game? 100%. I think that is the one. Clemson's defensive line versus Georgia's offensive line, that is the biggest slanted matchup, in my opinion, in this football game. Okay? Clemson's wide receivers versus Georgia's defensive backs. Really stout matchup on both sides. Vice versa. Georgia's wide receivers versus Clemson's defensive backs. Stout matchup. The quarterback head-to-head matchup. really, really stout. Linebackers on both squads, really, really stout. I think Clemson's D-line versus Georgia's O-line might be the biggest skew in terms of, hey, there's 5 guys over there that are going to play on Sunday for a long time, and there's maybe 2 or 3 on Georgia's offensive line, if that makes sense. So here we go. Rough estimate on when we might see Pickens. Your guess is as good as mine right now. I have updated his status in terms of his rehab status over there on Patreon. So if you want that information, feel free to check it out. Patreon.com/Brooks Austin. I think we gave an update on Pickens' rehab like 4 days ago. So it's pretty it's pretty recent. It's pretty fresh. So actually, it was yesterday, I think, we gave an update on that one. So that's available for you over there. But the rehab's only part of the story. So here we go. Do you think Kirby rotates and subs too much? No. Defensively, you got to keep everyone fresh. Now, offensively, under Pittman, they rotated a lot of offensive linemen. I personally did not like it because of that thing we talked about, continuity, right? I want my offensive line to play together and play, a lot together. I want them to know exactly who the person is next to them. Live, eat, sleep, and breathe exactly what that guy does. I want them to hold hands going to class together. Okay, so I'm not fond for rotating at the offensive line position. I am fond for rotating everywhere else, literally everywhere else. Play them all. If they're good enough to play them all. Does Fred Davis play against UGA? I don't know. Are the other tight ends ready to play other than Bowers, and is Fitzpatrick going to play? Again, we've updated this one on Patreon. I said earlier tonight in the Q&A session, I think if the game were to play today, I think Fitz plays. So I don't think that's a major one to be concerned about. I do worry about whether or not Bowers is ready to play because he could look great in practice. But as we saw, even with Darnell Washington last year, right, it took him a while. He's a great blocker from game one, but it took him, or an above-average blocker from game one. It took him a while to really get, acclimated to what college football looks like. I don't know if Brock Bowers is going to have those same growing pains, but it'd almost be ignorant and naive to not think that freshmen are going to have them, especially true freshmen. So, yeah, I know he's been on campus for 6 months at this point, but he's still a freshman playing against a top 5 football team in a season opener under the lights in an NFL stadium on national television. This guy came from Napa Valley, California, guys. Napa Valley. That ain't Gwinnett County, Georgia, okay? This is the biggest game he's ever played in his life, hands down. It's the biggest game a lot of these kids have played in their life, but especially the freshmen from a West Coast area that typically doesn't produce people like Brock Bowers. SSL giving me Nate Dogg, UGA's question, which asks from Twitter. Appreciate you, Nate Dogg. What do you think our top 3 wide receiver on the depth chart against Clemson? So I think what he's asking, and I don't do 1, 2, 3s. I do XY slots, okay? X, your primary receiver, right, outside. I think it's going to probably be, I'm going to go Adonai Mitchell or Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. They'll rotate. Justin Robinson will get some run out there as well. Your Z is definitely going to be Jermaine Burton, and your slot's going to be Kyrus. I think all those guys play. But guys like Lad McConkey, they're going to get run in this football game. And I'll always forget a name here. I always will. When we're live and we're talking about 7 or 8 guys, I'm always going to forget a name. But I think there's going to be a lot. Arian Smith in the slot, you'll see him get some opportunity as well. They're going to play a bunch of dudes because, A, they have to, but B, it's what they do. Okay, so, but in terms of the starting rollout group, I think you're probably going to see Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint get the nod first at X, Jermaine Burton at the Z, Kyrus Jackson there in the slot with Fitz getting the start at tight end. So there you go. If they come out in 11 personnel, it'll be the 3 receivers will be Rosemy-Jacksaint at the X, Jermaine Burton at the Z, Kyrus Jackson in the slot, John Fitzpatrick at the Y, and Zamir White at the running back position. Okay. As the game rotates on, you'll see a lot more other guys get in there, especially some youngins. Who gets the most sacks between Clemson or versus Clemson between Walker, Carter, and Davis? Ask Luigi. So we took Adam Anderson out of the equation here. I'm personally going to take Jordan Davis out of the equation here because he just doesn't get the opportunities that these other guys will. Okay. I can't assure you that on third down, Jordan Davis is going to be on the field. I can assure you that Trayvon Walker is going to be on the field. So he's going to get more opportunities. For that reason, I'm going with him. Same thing with Jalen Carter. He's going to get more third down opportunities than, say, Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt because he's got a pass rushing skill set that's already rather developed and varied, right, and versatile. He can play from a 3-tech. He can play from a shade. Hell, I watched him bend the hoop out there as a 5 technique against Auburn in his second game, his first home game in college football. So that guy's much more versatile, which means you're going to get more opportunities to be on the field in third down pass rushing situations than, say, a Devontae Wyatt or a Jordan Davis. But to answer your question, I think Trayvon Walker is the winner there. Kidum Smith asks, don't forget to like the video. Doesn't ask, demands. And he or she is right. Kidum is right. Like this video, give it a thumbs up wherever you are, however you found us. What do you think will be, who do you think will be left tackle by the Florida game? I've tweeted about this one, Jay Parker. I think it's going to be, I personally think it's going to be Amarius Mims. That's just from tea leaves that I've tried to piece together on things that I've heard coming out of camp. And I think as the season progresses, it's going to be hard to keep that guy off the field. That being said, it very well could be Broderick Jones, or they could leave it at Jamari Sawyer. It's something we talked about on Patreon today. There's just so many good interior offensive linemen for Georgia right now. If they're not pressed and had their hand held to the fire to move Jamari Sawyer inside, why would you? I mean, there's no real rush to do it. There's no need to do it other than, hey, we got to get Broderick Jones or Amarius Mims on the field. That's fine. If that's the reasoning, I'm comfortable with it. I'm just telling you, they're good at guard. They're really good at guard right now. Even if Justin Schaefer or Tate Ratledge gets hurt, Michael Morris, Jared Wilson, they're going to be really good. Owen Condon, an experienced offensive lineman in there rotating at guard. Warren Erickson has experience playing guard as well and could play guard in this football game if they absolutely need him with a cast on his hands. So there's plenty of depth at the guard position. The same cannot be said, depth and experience, the same cannot be said at the tackle position. So if you don't have to bump him inside, then don't worry about it. The NFL, I know Jamari wants to and needs to play guard in the NFL. The NFL can worry about that when the NFL gets him. They'll just transition them. They always do that. They take guys that are playing tackle in college and bump them into guard, and they start week one as rookies. It happens every single year. So there's no rush to move him in there. There's no need to get more game tape on there. If he can play tackle in the SEC, if he can play left tackle in the SEC at damn near 330 pounds, he's pretty athletic, and you know he can make the move inside, and you know he's got the strength and power to be effective in the run game as an interior offensive lineman in the NFL too. He doesn't need to prove that on tape, in my opinion. Who's the best D-line playing in this? Oh, it's Miles Murphy, Brent Tucker. That's honestly, I don't think it's really debatable. Miles Murphy might be a top 5 pick, top 10 pick. And then after that, I would probably go, if we're taking edge rushers off this list or if we're including them, I think in terms of draft capital after that, you're looking at guys like Jalen Carter, who I think is going to be a top 20 pick. And then you're getting into that Adam Anderson, Brian Brzee type of area. Okay. But there's a lot of them. The NFL will be watching this game really, really closely. Biggest breakout freshman on offense and defense, TCJ Dog asks over there on Twitter. So Adonai Mitchell, which I actually got a interesting nug today in my direct message inbox from, this is Johnny Valliner, who goes by @Vane_train over on Twitter, and is a Patreon subscriber. He sent me a message today and said, give me one second. Basically told me that in Hebrew, the name Adonai, or Adonai, stands for God. It means God in Hebrew. Apparently, with every start of every prayer in the Hebrew culture, so these are Jewish people, they start with, and I'm going to butcher this, Baruch atah Adonai, which means blessed are you, Lord. So there you go. Adonai. A.D. Mitchell. He's the breakout offensive player. Good Lord. Anytime I try to sound smart, I just sound stupider than I ever could. So he's the guy on offense. Defensively, I think it's going to be Smile Mondon, but I don't know how much he plays. There's going to be very few true freshmen, that break out this year defensively just because they're so loaded and so old and so veteran experienced. So experienced on the defensive side of the ball. Oh, let's see here. Bro, Carl, I'm getting to him, okay? We're going to have something for you tonight. He's basically giving me crap about how I'm not living up to my promises on the film breakdowns. We still got a week, okay? And all I got left is defensive line. That's it. We're going to give it to you. Trust me. You ain't going to miss that one. I don't want to miss that one. That's going to be fun. It's not going to be fun for Georgia fans, but it's going to be fun, okay? Willie Jr. over on Willie Jr. Willie Double Jr. asked on YouTube, how does the alliance counter the SEC? I think that's all sweet talk, honestly. I think it's all sweet talk. Guess what the College Football Playoff Committee ain't going to do? They ain't going to keep Alabama, Georgia, whoever the SEC teams are that are playoff caliber football teams out of the playoff. So, yeah, that's all. Oh, my God, can you believe what the SEC is doing? We need to band together, guys. We need to go fight this big team. They're just big bullies, and they got I think predatory. They got predatory in nature, taking Oklahoma and Texas from the Big 12. Poor old Big 12. Feel so sorry for the Big 12, even though we're going to really screw over the Big 12 by forming this alliance and not keeping them in it. Fugazi and stuff that it don't really matter to me, to be honest with you. Are these injuries overblown by the media? Keon Lassiter excuse me. Here's one thing that I know about when injuries like this happen, right? You're going to get overreactions. You should. It drives traffic. It drives numbers. Okay. It's not great news, but it's news nonetheless. So you're going to see it covered, and you're going to see it recovered, and you're going to see it recovered and recovered and recovered all the way up until the game. Because it's one of the biggest things we've talked about tonight. Everybody asked about Darnell this, Darnell that. Matter of fact, the next question we got coming up is about more of them, right? So, yeah, like it's going to get covered. But here's one thing I always notice, and I always pay attention to. What happened to that Vegas line? When the injuries happened, I think Georgia was a 4.5-point dog, meaning they were the underdog, right? I think that line's down to 3 now. Down to 3. So bettors and big bettors are betting on Georgia right now. So the money and the media, for that matter, and like you say, are they being overblown? No, because every media member I find is picking Georgia to win this game, except for PFF, who thinks Clemson's going to win it by double digits. So I think they're being quote unquote overblown, but I think they're being overcovered because they have to be overcovered. Okay. That's just the nature of this business. That's how we have to go about doing things. Okay. Are we expecting too much from our pass catchers without Pickens, Arick, or Darnell week 1? Are we still dangerous or merely solid? I think you're still dangerous. I still believe in every single one of those threats that you've got. Okay. Georgia's got some guys offensively right now that would start everywhere else. Everywhere else. Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint would start everywhere else. Jermaine Burton would start everywhere else. Okay. Kearis Jackson would play everywhere else. I don't know if he'd start. He would play everywhere else. He'd probably start because he'd be cooking folks in practice and damn near knocking people's heads off and them having to tell him to calm down. Okay. Because he's a crazy person. So yeah, I don't think it's being overblown. I don't think it's I think they are still dangerous. I think they're still really, really good football players. So you're good there. What's your take on depth at outside linebacker at Georgia? It kind of worries me because of the unproven players behind Nolen and Anderson. I think you're right there. 100% think you're right. You have reason for concern in terms of depth at that outside linebacker position. It's just young, right? MJ Sermon and Chaz Chambliss are 2 really talented football players, but they're really young, and that's your backups right now. That's who it is. But stop looking at depth charts because you know what it doesn't account for? Trayvon Walker playing Jack, which he's going to do. He's 100% going to play Jack this year. You're not going to notice it because you're not watching it like you could or like some people can. And I'm not going after you, Alex Norton. Maybe you're a college football coach, maybe you know, but it's going to look like he's just playing defensive end, but he's going to be playing Jack. When Nolan Smith's off the field and you see Trayvon Walker over on the left tackle's shoulder and it's with his hand in the dirt or possibly even standing up, which is scarier even to think about, that's what you're looking at. You're going to be looking at another defensive end playing outside linebacker. Okay, so I'm not that worried about it just because they've got enough guys and enough bodies. And Robert Beal. Robert Beal's a good football player. He is. He's a good-looking dude, too. That came off weird. Good-looking football player. Maybe he is handsome. I don't know. What is the dynamic between giving SPP his deserved shot? Stick, you asked this in Discord last night. I'm sorry, but I was tired and my brain wasn't working. and playing the experience, knows all the playbook guy in Erickson with the cast towards solidifying the best O-line for the Clemson game. I'm not here for starting offensive linemen with casts on their hands. I'm just not. And here's why. Every offensive lineman, here's a news break for you. Every offensive lineman in the history of football holds on every play, every good one. And if your hand is wrapped up like a friggin' gordita, you can't do it. You can't do it. I can't hold you. I can't get my hands on your chest plate if my hand's in a cast. So I think that when I say he's deserving of this shot, he's been there 18 months, 20 months, and has worked his tail off. Super smart, earned the respect of his teammates, and was a highly touted recruit. And you brought him to Georgia with promises of a great, prosperous career. Now is the time to live up to those expectations right now. Okay. Over 10.5 wins. I'll take the over. I mean, a 12-2 football season gets me there. An 11-3 football season gets me there. I'm there all day for that one. Sarah Langley asks, Clemson D-line is pretty stout. What are your thoughts about how we can handle them? We'll talk more about this next week. Hunker down, dogs. Is that what you guys say? Hunker down. Which individual matchup, Clayton Adams asks, are you watching during the game? Guys, I'm telling you right now, I've got a lot of questions to hit. So if you're one of these people that wants to make sure that I get to your question, super subs go right up to the top of the list. So we've got 20 minutes left in this Q&A session, and I promise you I'm not getting all these. There's just too many. Okay, so I'll try to be quicker. Here we go. Individual matchups. Are you watching during the game? Immediately watching what Miles Murphy's doing to your left tackle, and I'm immediately on the other sside watching what Justin Ross is doing to Latavius Brini out of the slot. How much do you think we use Ladd this year? I think you're going to use him a lot, Brent. Lot's the wrong word. I think you're going to do he's going to play. Let's just put it that way. I don't think he's going to be a starter. I don't think he's going to lead your team in receptions. I don't even think he's going to be anywhere. I think like 20 receptions is the key right there. We get that would be the line I said on that. New to Patreon. Welcome to the family, Aaron. Do you have a film study on Starks out of Jefferson yet? I think we did a little bit of it. Actually, I know we did. I don't know if it's out on YouTube, but it's definitely on Patreon. I'll put it back up. Aaron, hit me up in either Discord or in on Patreon, and I'll send you the link to that because I know I definitely have, because I remember comparing him to Eric Berry. So there you go. As promised, and didn't take long. Oh, Robert, you're just being that guy. Robert drops a super sub. Did you say sub? I did. Let's see here. Every time I talk to Connor Matella asks, I don't even know if this is a question. It's not. Always put question marks on the questions. I know a lot of you guys are talking back and forth to each other in the Discord or in the YouTube chat. That's fine. How do we block double A-gap blitz of Clemson? We did not handle this well in the Peach Bowl. ID the correct mics, right? ID the right linebackers. That will help a lot. I think that was something Georgia struggled with in the Cincinnati game. So ID the correct mic IDs first. And then maybe you have to slide in some slide protection there where you make sure you have both your A-gaps covered. Because it's really hard to do without the board. It's really hard to do without the film. But when you're in 3x2 slides, right, the center to the right guard to the right tackle going this way, the left guard and the left tackle going this way, there's a huge alleyway in A gap. So a lot of teams plug A's a lot. Georgia is one of those. Is Jackson going to start at punt/kick returner? Is Arian Smith getting any reps? I don't know about this, Nate Dogg. In terms of Arian Smith, I know who is, and that's Ladd McConkey. I think if you're going to see Ladd on the field as early as possible, it's as a special teamer and as a punt returner and kick returner. I personally, and this is me, I personally would not like running a wide receiver out there to be a punt returner when he has just rehabbed a knee. My personal opinion on that one. Let's get into these super sub questions. Jay Calloway asks, what's your schedule for the season behind paywall and public? Okay, here we go. It's a great question. Sunday, I'm going to take off. To be honest with you. Sunday, I'm off. Monday, we will do an offensive breakdown over on Patreon behind the paywall. Tuesday morning, you'll probably get 8 or 9 minutes of that on YouTube just for you to look at. Tuesday, we'll do the defense. Okay. Wednesday, we will do a what to expect and what to look forward to of the next opponent. That'll be public and live on all of our platforms. Okay. Monday and Tuesday behind the paywall. Thursday, we'll probably do something similar to an NBR show. Okay. I'll come in here and flame hot takes up for an hour. Excuse me. Not hot takes, for other takes that I'm hot about. Okay. We will do an NBR, a Nothing But Rant show on Thursday. And then Friday, I'm going to be at high school football games. Saturday, we will do a live watch party with everybody. Okay. So Monday and Tuesday behind the paywall. Wednesday, public for everybody. Thursday, public for everybody. Saturday, public for everybody. Sunday, probably do something lounge related. Okay. Probably something like that for the Patreon folks. Anthony Weeks asks, do you think Clemson loads the box and makes JT Daniels beat them with his arm? That's shown to be a bad idea, honestly. Ask Mississippi State. And I know people say, well, Clemson's not in Mississippi State. Yeah, this also ain't the same offense that you played last year. So, yeah, if you do that, it's good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck. Because I don't think Clemson's not one of those teams. They like to play zone. And if you're going to load the box and send the house and make JT Daniels, quote unquote, beat you with your arm, you're going to have to play a lot of cover 0 and a cover 1 behind it. And that's not what Clemson does. They are a zone football team. Okay. Thanks for subbing to talking ball bricks. No doubt, David. No doubt. Young up and coming YouTube channel over there, Talking Ball. Y'all check that one out. Connor Matella asks, how concerned are you about the coaching gap between teams? I don't know if there is one. And I know a lot of people say, well, Dabo Swinney's got the national titles. That's fine. That's fine. So, yeah, give him the advantage. Georgia's got like millions and millions of dollars tied up in their coaching staff. They're going to be okay. But, you know, Venables is great. Tony Elliott's great. Todd Monken's great. Dan Lanning's great. So they're all really, really good. It's going to come down to execution on Saturdays, to be honest with you. All right, those are all our super subs. Let's go back up and catch some of these other ones. Pass run ratio in Clemson game from Georgia, Aiden Cruz asks. I'm going to say about 55-45 is what I think is going to happen this year. I think you're going to throw it 55% of the time for the rest of the year. Okay. How do you account for high school class level when evaluating / ranking talent, i.e. Ratledge versus Fairchild? So for me, personally, when I'm watching something like that, right? First of all, did you dominate? Like if you're a single A football player, are you just absolutely, do you look like a man amongst boys every single play? Like you have to be head and shoulders better than literally everyone else you're playing against. If that's the case, I'm good. Okay. My other thing is, how do you move as an athlete? How do you convert power, especially when we're talking about offensive linemen, right? What's your technique look like? I remember the very first film breakdown I did on Tate. The most impressive thing to me about what it is that he was doing was that he was playing with elite pad level, elite footwork, and elite hand placement. His technique was SEC ready as a senior in high school at a level of high school football where he didn't have to be perfect. Okay, but he was technically sound as they can be. That to me stands out on tape. So I don't have to worry about these types of things. Okay. Now, when we're talking about like you gave me examples of offensive line, right? So the difference to me between Ratledge and Fairchild coming out of high school was when I watched Tate, I said, wow, elite mover, elite athlete, former tight end background is going to handle SEC athletes really, really well. Whereas Fairchild, I saw him in 7A football out there for Forsyth County, and it was like, yeah, great wrestler, understands leverage, all that good stuff. Not an elite athletic specimen. But you can still win with those guys, right? And I've always said that I think Dylan Fairchild's future in football is as a center, okay? Because I can hide you athletically. I can. Think about some of the great centers in college football. Think about some of the great centers in Georgia football. David Andrews. Nobody in their right mind would call David Andrews an elite athlete, right? But he's an elite football player, so you can still win with guys like that. But as far as how do I translate or project what they're going to do from high school to college, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that go into that, especially at the quarterback position. At the quarterback position, it becomes really, really tough if you don't know what you're looking for. Quay Walker could play outside linebacker Johnny Bolton. remember, and again, we got about 10 minutes left, guys. Like that video over on YouTube. And if you want to get in, make sure I don't miss your question. You know what to do. Hit that super sub. Clemson was ranked 11th in rushing last year in the conference. No Travis Etienne this year. Thoughts? Keon, I've tweeted about this a couple weeks ago. It may have not even been that long. I said, I've watched at this point in what we're doing, I think I've watched probably 7 or 8 games across 3 years of Clemson football. There was one irreplaceable football player on that roster, and it wasn't Trevor Lawrence. It was Travis Etienne. That dude did stuff at the running back position that made their offense go. I mean, click. The famous draw play that they run. Downset hut, Trevor take 4 steps back, put the ball in Travis's belly, and everybody watch. Downset hut, Trevor take 4, 5, 6, 7 steps back, drop a screen pass to Travis Etienne, everybody stand back and watch. Downset hut, Travis run bubble screen. Here you go, pitch and catch, 8 yards. Ball travels 8 yards through the air. Boom, next thing you know, 80-yard touchdown. Okay? Everybody stand back and watch Travis work. Okay? That was the game plan. I mean, it wasn't the game plan, but that was in the game script a lot. Here's Travis. He's great. Watch him go be great. They don't have one of those guys right now. Not that's proven, right? They got a freshman running back that everyone's going to know about very, very soon, Will Shipley. He's a freshman, just like we talked about Brock Bowers. I think Brock Bowers is an elite football player, still a freshman. When it comes to freshmen in college football in major games, I've got to watch you go prove that before I say, oh, yeah, now I get it. Yeah, like that. That's a guy. Ryan Mell comes in with the super sub and says, how many cornerbacks and stars play when the game is in doubt? Okay. It's a weird question here, Ryan, and this is why. Georgia personnel matches. So they personnel match and they situation match. Okay. So if Clemson's in empty personnel, right? They have no running backs. They're going 5 wide. You're going to see dime. You're going to see 2 stars on the field. And you're going to see 4 corners or 2 corners and 2 safeties. Whereas if they're in 11 personnel, you're going to see Georgia stay in nickel. So 1 star, 2 corners, 2 safeties. Okay. If they're in heavy 12 personnel, got both of them big tight ends on the field, and they're both in line in the box, you're going to see Georgia run 3-4 and play 4 defensive backs, 2 safeties and 2 corners. So it's not about is the game in doubt, is the game on the line. It's about what's the opposition doing to you personnel-wise. That will dictate what Georgia does defensively. Okay? Long one here. Shout out to Connor Martella in here. Martella. You guys watched me screw up physician and physicist the other day, so I'm useless when it comes to name pronunciation. Just an appreciation donate. I appreciate this one, man. Thank you so much for all the knowledge. You've elevated the way I watch football and made watching the game on a higher level so much fun. Thank you for everything. Thank you, honestly. When I first got into doing film study stuff, I never thought anybody was going to be like, hey, this dude's fun to watch. I thought I was going to be talking over a lot of people's heads. But it is what it is. Lounge after this. That's a good question. I think I'm going to clean the kitchen instead, to be honest with you. I might hop on the lounge while I'm doing it, though. So there you go. All right, that's it for the super subs. Let's scroll back up and get some of these questions that I've already missed and did not have a chance to get to, unless more super subs come in. What is your opinion? What, in your opinion, makes a great football player? Wow. That's a tough question. Okay. Let's talk about it from a grand scheme of things, right? A grand scheme of things. To me, what makes a great football player is a dedication to this craft. Okay. So what I'm going to tell you is that every player that Georgia recruits is an elite athlete. They are the best athlete and the biggest physical specimen that their high school has ever seen. Okay. Even a guy like Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey was North Mary High School's football team. He was. He played receiver. He was the punt returner, played corner, played safety. He was the punter and the kicker. I mean, he did everything. Okay. And he can pass. I'm talking about Boobie Miles good. Okay. They all are everywhere they go. So what separates them, right? What separates a guy like Michel Hardman going from what he was in high school as an option quarterback to being a second-round draft pick? And I use Michel for this reason. I've had the opportunity to watch Michel Hardman work, okay, and up close as a professional, as a guy that was wearing a Kansas City helmet while he was going through the workout. I ain't seen nobody work like that. I haven't. And the joy to absolutely like be killing themselves in the grind. That's what separates greatness, right? Work ethic. It's no different than any other line of work. It's why I pride myself. If I pride myself on football knowledge, but I also pride myself on doing 3 live shows a week, 4 during the season. Okay, writing 4 or 5 articles a day, going to see. I saw 10 high school football teams last week. I called 3 high school football games last Saturday. Like I can go through this over and over again, but it's that to me is what separates good from great. Is like that extra 10, 15% of effort to always go and do whatever it is that you have to do to be great, right? To put you in front of the people that are going to elevate you. That to me is what separates and makes a great football player. Toughness, athleticism, high IQ, all that good stuff. All that stuff's a given when we're talking about most of these really, really elite football players. But when we're talking about them upper echelon football guys, that we're talking about a different kind of work ethic, a different kind of grind. Okay. Jermaine Burton's got one of those. Okay. Jermaine, before the workout and after the workout, is the most outgoing, joyous, goofy personality guy in the world. When he's in between them lines, though, ain't nothing said. That dude's working. He's freaking grinding his to the bone until he leaves, until the last rep is taken, and then that joyous life, like filled with life personality comes right back out. But in between them lines, professional, a grinder, 100% a grinder. So yeah, when I go watch workouts, and the really talented 4 or 5 star shows up and they're just goofing around during the workout. They're taking reps off. They're not really caring. They're not really working. They're just getting through the day. They're just buying their time. They're just showing up because they want to show up. I never think those guys are going to make it. Like they'll be great. They'll be good in college. They might be great in college. But when we're talking about transcendent onto the NFL, there's one thing in common with all those guys. They grind their backside off every single time they get an opportunity to. Jonathan Anderson, thank you for the sub. No question, though. Rudes, we're going to work our way from the top to the bottom here. Rudes asks, favorite late night snack? Ooh. What are we doing here? Are we a little tossed and sauced in an Uber ride back home? Like, what are we doing there? Because if so, I mean, you can't go wrong with a chicken quesadilla from Taco Bell, soft taco, no lettuce, maybe an extra Crunchwrap Supreme on the side. I mean, it ain't like I practiced the order or anything. It ain't like I've had it a few times. I'm just gonna say that's me. That's my move there. If I absolutely positively have to go with one. But in terms of late night, I'm at the house. Just got done doing 4 different live shows and answering you dummies questions in the lounge and hanging out with you guys. And it's 1:00 in the morning. And I'm stone cold sober, probably going with something like maybe whip up a quesadilla, maybe scramble some eggs, something easy, something quick where I can just get it in my gullet and go to bed. That's probably my move there. But yeah, if we're tossed and sauced, quesadilla, chicken quesadilla, soft taco, no lettuce, and maybe an extra Crunchwrap Supreme right there. 100%. Jonathan Anderson says, thanks, BA. So solid and appreciate all the content on Patreon. Is elite quarterback play over the last few seasons the biggest difference between between UGA and Clemson natty success? I wouldn't necessarily say it's the biggest thing. I think the biggest thing for me is 2018 laying an egg against LSU, 2019 laying an egg against South Carolina. That's the biggest thing to me. Not finishing in the fourth quarter against Alabama the last 3 times you played them. Okay. And I know all of those things hurt your feelings, but that's the difference between competing for a national title and not. Okay. When Clemson's up in the fourth quarter and Deshaun Watson's their quarterback, yes, he's their quarterback. He's a great one in college. He was a great one. He's still a great one in the NFL. He's just dealing with some stuff, some pretty heavy stuff. But yeah, they executed in the fourth quarter, though, as a football team, not as just a quarterback. You've absolutely got to finish the drill, as your boy Mark Richt would say. All right. What I miss? A whole lot. SOG_Titan, a whole lot. Favorite cereal? Not really a cereal guy. I don't even think we have cereal in the house here at the Cribbo, but Reese's Puffs. peanut butter chocolate flavor. Yeah, that's my one. That's going to be a gift too. Yeah, y'all go ahead and gift that one up. Justin's busy tonight, but y'all go ahead and gift that one up. It's got to be Reese's Puffs, man. It's got to be Reese's Puffs. What's your favorite thing about being a dad/husband? P.S. I love you. Honey, first of all, go to bed. It's 10 o'clock. You're in the other room, and I know I'm being loud. But guys, it's a tough question. She's hitting me hard right now, and I know this is the most pressurized question of the night because I'm going to get slack on that one. Favorite thing about being a dad. Let's start with that one first. I was telling your mother actually this the other day. My favorite part about being a dad is coming home. I grew up in a household where dad didn't always come home. I love coming home. It's joyous to me because I get to see that little turd's face and just see it light up when mom says dad-ass home. And he runs to the stairs. They're almost always upstairs, waking up from nap time. By the time I get home, whenever it is I'm coming home. So that's definitely my favorite part about being a dad, other than, the other stuff that we all love, right? The giggles, the laughs, watching him fall down, watching him learn stuff, right? Like he's figuring out names now, right? When you say, where's mama? He looks at mama. Whenever you say, where's dada? He looks at dada. My favorite part about being a husband is just laughing and having a joyous time with you. Yeah, my wife's laugh is excellent. It's one of the very many reasons I had, chose to marry her. But that's my favorite part, laughing and cutting up with you, whether it's just, watching TikToks or, watching stupid Netflix shows and laughing about whatever's happening on Love Island. Seeing you smile, seeing you laugh. That's my favorite thing about being your husband, and the support that you give me. I have the most supportive wife in the world. Now, it does make it tough that I'm an idiot and I work way too hard on her, but she is an absolute champion when it comes to running this household like it ought to. So 100%, honey, I hope I did a good enough job on that one. That almost made me sweat. I think we're going to end it on that one, guys. It's an hour and 2 minutes, and I'm probably already got a text message saying, hey, can you come rub on me before I go to sleep? Yes, honey, I will. I'll be right in there. I promise. But we got to hit super chats before we get out of here. Which running back? What a different way to come down off of that segment. Now we go into running back. What running back has Richard asked? What running back has the best attributes to attack, exploit Clemson's perimeter? I think we already talked about this. Is James Cook in the passing game, and I think it is Kendall Milton in the running game. If you watched, I forget his name, Ohio State's running back, ended up in the league this past year, Trey Sermon. If you watch him have so much success like he did, downhill one cut, but also has like the strength and power to run through arm tackles, you're going to get a lot of arm tackles from these guys, okay? So you're 100% going to have a big, powerful back that not only can make people miss, but run through arm tackles. So that's what I would go with that. Now, before we let you get out of here tonight, please like, subscribe, rate, and review to everything that you found it, wherever you found it, however you found it. But because we're an hour and 3 minutes in and I haven't already given a shout out to Cola Kicks, ColaKicks.com, promo code Brooks will get you $10 off any purchase of $100 or more. Okay. I got the 11s behind me. I got the Flints behind me, both of which I bought over on ColaKicks.com, size 12.5. No, you cannot have them, but they have a size and a pair for you. So go check them out. ColaKicks.com, promo code Brooks, again, will get you $10 off any purchase of $100 or more. And they get a new stock load of sneakers every single day. Be sure to follow them on social media, Cola Kicks 706 and Cola Kicks, wherever you find your social media, Instagram in particular. Go follow them. Go holler at my boy Jerry. Tell him Brooks sent you. They got all that good stuff. All right, folks. Appreciate you being here. I'm out. We'll see you next time.